Hello, Astro friends. Here's Melanie on the 2nd of December 2025. We are already in the second decade of Sagittarius, which started today, and that has a Leo undertone. December 2nd till 11th. So, this is all about opening our hearts, celebrating, roaring, speaking our truth with from the heart, from confidence, from love. So, yeah, and it's of course a lot about the pre Christmas celebration time. The lights, the colors are really coming in and coming on. Creativity would be also wonderful to actually do something personally creative, not just vicariously, right? So be the child. It's all about the inner child, the happiness, the joy. And this is also where the supermoon on the 4th in 2 days will fall into this central Sagittarius decanate with Leo undertone. Yeah, there's a lot going on right now. The energy is, despite this Leo influence, of course, very mutable. Lots of shifts and changes. And here is the chart of the supermoon. Just look at that. This is intense. Like the grand mutable cross is really dominating, is one layer of it. Mutable cross means planets, sun and moon in this case, the supermoon axis, and also the nodal axis from Virgo to Pisces, all lined up between 13 and 14 degrees. An exact T-square, you could call it, or even an extension to the south node, a grand cross. And that is like a wheel that keeps on turning, right? That can be, we can be pulled into so many directions with that. Very important to stay centered. Stay centered in the heart and not get pulled by the mind into all these different options and interests and stories, in fact, right? Why am I saying mind again? Because Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, which is where the full moon will be, right? And the ruler of Virgo, which is where the south node is. Mercury is also now just coming out of the post-retro storm. That slow phase in U-turn from going retro to technically going direct, but catching a bit more momentum. And that will be literally also until the day of the supermoon, the 4th of December. And then Mercury catches more momentum, will come out of Scorpio. That's a whole other story that I want to talk a bit about it, and go into Sagittarius from the 11th of, or is it the 10th? Wait a minute. Mercury leaves Scorpio for Sagittarius on the 11th, yes. And then comes out of the post-retro shadow, which is still part of this whole Mercury retro epos on the 17th of December. Mercury has been in Scorpio for kind of ever, as it seems, since the 6th of October. What was that? That was the first supermoon of 4 supermoons. Wow, that seems like ages ago. And then Mercury entered Sagittarius for a bit, but came back, went retrograde back into Scorpio, and now finally fully will leave Scorpio. But I would say this is still a really critical phase, especially with that grand cross here activating Mercury ruled Virgo and Gemini. So what is this all about? We can talk about the grand water trine later, but this is more acute and there's more pressure, more tension, because it's all squares and something seems like needs to happen. This is the pressure, the urge, the drive that the squares activate, right? So they have a Mars dynamic. So it's like 4 Martian forces, and then also the oppositions which have a Saturn component, which can also mean like, hey, you got to also, certain things, are they compatible? Or are you pulling like this rope on from different ends and losing a lot of energy over that, over all these polarities that we might get caught in. And in terms of polarities, yes, that is also the full moon, of course, but also Gemini itself deals with polarities, with dichotomies, with this and that. So that what keeps the mind busy, right? There's always arguments. There's always a pro and con. There's always the dialectic, right? It was like this and that. The synthesis that has to be created from polar opposites, right? Thesis, antithesis, synthesis, all these procedures, all these methods that activate the mind, that can help us learn, but that can also keep us trapped in the mind, right? So where is the solution? In Pisces, I would say, where the North Node is, and where also Saturn and Neptune actually are. And Neptune is also very critical at this point because it turns from retro to direct again on December 10th. And so all of this Pisces energy in T-square with the full moon, especially the North Node. But yeah, these two are adjunct. So this is also where we are called to go for solution, like literally dissolution, dissolving doubt, right? Doubt is very Gemini, or mental clutter can be. And even as the moon in Gemini would have just come out of this conjunction with Uranus, which happens tomorrow the 3rd in the evening. And it's Uranus is back in Taurus now, but it was already in Gemini for a bit this year, for 4 months, July 7th till November 7th. So the moon will have passed Uranus. And this is also what shows us how we can go on this hyperdrive, can feel somewhat crazy, right? But also can feel we are breaking through the polarities, the mentality that could have kept us trapped, which is also Gemini Taurus, right? So breaking free, and Uranus is about freedom, is about awakening, but sometimes it also comes in kind of a jaggedy zigzag mode where we come out of the egg, so to say, and go back in, and we experiment. It's also Uranus with different ways of thinking. And now in Taurus also, Uranus would help us still review the years of Uranus in Taurus since 2018, 2019, where it's been all about embodying freedom, which can literally mean also going where our senses are happy and free, and can be also bodily autonomy in so many ways, right? My body, my choice. A big discourses about that have been had and continue to be had. So how can we literally be in our bodily autonomy? And end of Taurus, where Uranus is a little bit back into again until April 26th next year. So end of Taurus here has a Virgo undertone. So this is where also health comes in, health, freedom, and our habits, our lifestyle. That's a combination of Virgo and Taurus that is not just convenient and even lazy and too stuck in habits or physically in a place, but actually that we are free. We are liberating ourselves from all these traps, which could have been also laid or have been laid, right, via technology, which is Uranus. So this is the invitation to step into that autonomy and step into that freedom and that liberation, that awakening, in fact. So if situations feel pretty dull to you these days, that can be a symptom, right? Because Taurus, too much Taurus can be very stagnant, very habitual, very dull, in fact. And Uranus says we got to shake it up. We got to do something that gets us out of the comfort zone, gets us into more freedom. And what does that mean? Where is your body happy and free? Is a one of the Uranus in Taurus themes. More about that, of course, when Uranus goes direct again, which is early next year. Is it in late January, I would estimate. And yeah, back to what's going on now. So again, this Gemini, where the moon would have passed Uranus, now full moon in Gemini in opposition to to Sagittarius Sun in central Sag with Leo undertone. Here is central Gemini with Aquarius undertone, of course, right? So that has to do also with, Gemini Aquarius has a lot to do with science. So what is really science and what is scientism? So basically a religion, a belief, a strong, collectively, societally formed Aquarius again, belief in science, right? Science is the one and only God here, right? That we have to submit to and maybe believe in. So, which in itself is a contradiction because science is not about belief; it's about discussion and discovery. So, Sagittarius is about beliefs, is about stories, is about understanding and finding the truth through seeing, through really seeing the bigger picture, not being trapped in this dichotomy, also, which Gemini can create of this and that, us and them. Sag says, what does the heart say? What unifies these polarities? And where is also joy and fun and a better story and a better trajectory, which is also Sagittarius. The archer with the arrow, right? And the arrow has to be pulled back to the heart before it's being released, right? So themes around these topics that I'm just presenting, throwing at you here, right? And what's going on this with the Grand Water Trine first? Yeah, Grand Water Trine is still there, although slowly loosening. We have still Jupiter for quite a while here, still in Cancer, going currently retrograde since the 11th of November until the 11th of March. So Jupiter won't will be still in the Grand Water Trine, but also as it goes retrograde, it leaves the exact alignment. Saturn and Neptune are still there, end of Pisces, but will also soon go into Aries, end of January, mid-February. And but then the late Scorpio side will also loosen because Mercury will leave Sagittarius, leave Scorpio for Sagittarius on the 10th, and Lilith will leave Scorpio on the 21st. Sorry, it's on the 11th, Mercury and Lilith on the 21st of December. Winter solstice, Lilith will go into Sag. So more about that with that winter solstice new moon that we'll have on the 19th. And so we have still this Grand Water Trine going on, but as I said, it's loosening up, and that one is really helpful to soothe, so to say, the tensions of that grand mutable cross. And the grand mutable cross, back to that a bit, is also, I would call it like a karmic moment, because the nodal axis gets so exactly activated by the full moon, by the supermoon. And the nodal axis, we're now in the center of this dynamic between South Node in Virgo, North Node in Pisces, which started end of January this year and goes till next August. And of course, the nodes are right in the center of these signs, right? Virgo and Pisces. So, yeah, the the south node in Virgo, again ruled by Mercury, which also rules the full moon, is a lot about analyzing situations, finding, looking at issues, looking at problems where things are aligned or not aligned. The intention, of course, is about alignment again, right? Alignment in wholeness, which of course also implies health and wellness, right? And yet on a south node level, which means like here's a problem, here's a shadow, here's a lower vibration of Virgo that we are invited to release. We can make things very complicated and can look at things from a level of problem focus. And that, of course, has from the Pisces side to do with vibration, right? So what we are vibrating, what we are tuning into, like including media, right? What we're exposing ourselves to. And so releasing that problem focus, releasing that inadequacy problem, that issue, there's always something wrong. There's always something wrong with them, with the situation, with the world, with myself. That can be a real shadow and bummer of Virgo. And finding unity, finding also relaxation, acceptance, adaptation. It is what it is. It's Pisces, right? That would be the high road. And rather than trying to fiddle with all these things and numbers and stuff that don't add up. So the invitation again, Pisces releasing, also releasing the whole Pisces age that we've been living in and engaging in. And that, of course, has been an ongoing circular manifestation of suffering and engagement in suffering. And of course, we don't want anybody to suffer, but we don't need to, for example, position ourselves as the helper who then actually needs victims, right? So this is the shadow of that. And feeling better when we can help somebody because we makes us feel sort of superior, right? Or gives us an identity, all these things. And then Pisces, of course, also perpetrators, victims, martyrs, all of that sacrifice, unnecessary sacrifice. Why are we sacrificing ourselves? What are we sacrificing? What are we surrendering to where we don't need to surrender it to, right? And so a review of the last 2,100 years of the Pisces age and of our own lifetime so far in the outgoing Pisces age would be good. So on that note, with all the religions and so on, there's also the dynamic between Gemini and Sag regarding inquiring into what is true, and that can be a spiritual practice, versus inquisition, right? You don't have the proper thoughts, the thought police, or the proper religion. You don't submit to our religion, and you will be you're a heretic, right? And then see what's going to happen to you. That inquisition versus inquiry. And Sagittarius comes in very strongly now. As I said, Sun is there, Venus is there. Venus just entered Sag on the 30th of November until the 24th of December, Christmas Eve. Mars is still in Sag until the 14th of December, and of course the Sun is there. Mercury will re-enter on the 11th, and Lilith will come in on the 21st. So Lilith is kind of the last when everybody has left Sag. It's funny, all the other planets have left Sag except Venus, of course, till the 24th. But Lilith will then be for a long time, for 9 months in Sag, from winter solstice on. So this is all about truth. It's about freedom. It's about our heart, following the heart, letting the heart lead, and the mind follow, and all the other parts. Of course, always the message with Mercury retro as well that we're coming out of. So let's look into the lunar alignments. Oh, maybe one more thing about Neptune. Yeah, so this Astro Week goes till the 9th of December, and Neptune will, the day after the 10th of December, go from retro to direct again. And this is then the third planet coming out of retro from this retro record we've had in November. The first was Saturn on the 27th, then Mercury here on the 29th, and then Neptune on December 10th, going in forward motion, but sorry, this way, back, looking from the back. And then that means Neptune will be only 1.5 more months in Pisces before entering Aries on January 26th. That is quite significant. So this is literally the last phase of Neptune in Pisces since 2012, right? And we know it, we feel it. We're in a big transition of eras. We are entering the new, and Neptune in Pisces also helps us wash out the residues of the Pisces age. Okay, so let's look at the lunar activation. So we have today, the 2nd, as I'm recording, the moon is in Taurus since yesterday evening, all day today in Taurus. Then the moon will continue to be in Taurus and be in a conjunction with Uranus tomorrow, the 3rd. That conjunction will be at 5:07 p.m. Pacific. And as I said, it could be a little turbulent or a little bit itchy to say, I gotta mix things up, gotta change things up. And maybe also good for surprises, breakthroughs, liberation, feeling comfortable again after some stress. And then the moon goes into Gemini, and that's, of course, a pre-Christmas, typically the pre-Christmas full moon, Gemini Sagittarius, and the supermoon will be on the 4th at 3:14 p.m. So the pre-full moon night, 3rd to 4th, but mostly the full moon night will be the 4th to the 5th. And yeah, so this is also beautiful in the pre-Christmas spirit for song, for storytelling, for meeting friends and coming together with people, sharing in good spirits, and yeah, and caroling and all of that, and the diversity, the multiplicity of joy and of celebration. Then we have the moon after fullness entering Cancer, her own abode, on December 5th at 5:54 p.m. and will be in Cancer all day Saturday and most of Sunday as well. So this will be the pre-Christmas Cancer moon. Beautiful, not only where the moon is at home, but also Jupiter exalted, and the moon will be conjunct Jupiter. How auspicious is that? On the 7th of December in the morning. So you can see already the moon Jupiter alignment, the post full moon. It's a bit later in the evening, of course, right? Towards, yeah, later at night you can see them better. In the night from the 6th to the 7th. And that can be a very emotional time. This can be a beautiful time to be with kids, be with family, and also memories, right? Jupiter retro in Cancer. Home is where the heart is. Where do we feel at home? What are we drawn to? Come home for Christmas is that whole theme of Jupiter moon in Cancer. Then the moon will be in Leo from the evening of the 7th on all day Monday the 8th and yeah, almost all day of the 9th as well. Double Leo because it's also the central Sag time with Leo undertone, so more about celebration, more about what does the heart say, and yeah, and being really radiating our heart light and being in the joy and in the joy of sharing generously and yeah, always from the heart. So that's it for the Astro Weather this week. Hope that was helpful for you. Let me know in the comments if you like it just as is. And yeah, and let your friends know about this YouTube channel if you find it could be interesting for them as well. You can, of course, also find my daily posts on Facebook and the blog. I blog also, so the blog articles for all these shifts and changes, and for the full moon, for example, for Neptune going direct and such. On the WordPress blog, I have a link below as well. And if you like a longer form read without jumping back and forth between different channels and different references, you can also subscribe to my email newsletter. It comes down your chimney for every full moon and new moon. So just shoot me a message and I put you on the list. And you're most welcome to join that channel of the newsletter. Wishing you a beautiful week and happy supermoon. Till next week. Ciao.